Good afternoon, everybody. We begin here at noon with breaking news. The man who pleaded guilty to a mass shooting at a 4th of July parade outside Chicago is now sentenced to life in prison. Robert Crimo III received 7 consecutive life sentences this morning without the possibility of parole for each person killed in that deadly holiday attack. He also received an additional 50 years for each of the 48 attempted murder charges to be served concurrently. Crimo pleaded guilty last month to 69 counts, including 21 counts of murder. He killed 7 and injured dozens more in Highland Park, just north of Chicago, back in 2022. Right now, mourners are preparing to gather at the St. Peter and Paul Cathedral in Indianapolis for a special Mass to remember Pope Francis. That Mass here in Indy is led by Archbishop Charles C. Thompson. Also, as you take a look at the right-hand part of your screen, crowds are growing in Vatican City to pay their final respects to the pontiff. In fact, so many have gathered there at St. Peter's Basilica that the cathedral has switched to a 24-hour operation to accommodate the huge outpouring of support. We're going to have more from the Vatican coming up in about 15 minutes. Also happening right now, Governor Braun is giving an update on his call for more transparency in state government, particularly regarding the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, or IEDC. It spends millions of state dollars to attract and keep businesses here in Indiana, but exactly how a lot of that money is spent and who is getting it has largely been kept secret. We want to take you inside the State House now, live for a look at that briefing by the governor. You can see some other officials also speaking there at the podium. Just yesterday, Governor Braun announced plans for an independent audit of IEDC accounting. In a statement, he said he was doing this because taxpayers, quote, deserve clear accountability for how their dollars are spent. So we're getting some clarity on all of this and learning more right now during this briefing inside the State House. We're going to break it down for you later this afternoon, let you know what was said, what happens next, coming up on 13 News beginning at 4. All right, let's now turn to the weather and a live look outside on another sunny afternoon. Sean Ash says we're expecting to hit the 80s today.
Yeah, we were close yesterday. It felt like it was 80, but we officially hit 77 yesterday, but we're already at 76. We got another 5 hours of heating.
And so no humidity either. It's so comfortable out there.
Not right now.
Okay.
It will get a little more humid, and I'll show you this because that's key, because it will allow for some pop-ups. Not everyone's going to have a raindrop, but somebody will.
Okay.
We just don't want that to catch folks by surprise here later today. But yeah, it is great. Right now, we're at 74 in Crawfordsville. 76 here in Indy at this hour. Carmel 75. You can see a little bit of cloud cover. You see a lot of sunshine here. 80, in fact, already in Muncie. 80 in Shelbyville. So we're going to have 80s on the map here. But this is what Dustin was talking about. So these dew points, they're not bad at all. Keep in mind, this is kind of a gauge of how the air feels. Once we get a little closer to 60, it becomes a little more noticeable. And that's the case around Louisville, and this is creeping to the north. And what will happen as the day unfolds with this daytime heating, we're going to see some of these clouds building, and we will eventually see some spotty showers and a few rumbles of thunder. They're showing up on Future Track 13. Noticed how widely spaced they are and a little more concentrated near and more so toward the Ohio River. Before we get into any of this action, we're expecting daytime highs to be approaching the lower 80s. It will feel eventually 50 degrees colder than these daytime highs. I'll time that out in the 7-day forecast here in a few moments.
All right, Sean, thank you. To Lawrence now, and new details on a shooting that killed a man yesterday morning. The Marion County coroner identified that man as 26-year-old Darius Timberlake. The shooting happened near East 46th and North Franklin Road. Timberlake died just after first responders got there to the scene. At last check, Lawrence police did have a person of interest in custody. We're checking to see if that person has been released or if police have made an arrest. We'll let you know as soon as we learn more on that. The Indiana Court of Appeals is hearing a new issue surrounding a lawsuit and that mass shooting at the Greenwood Park Mall. The shooting happened in July of 2022. A man inside the mall killed 3 people. Now in a lawsuit, a family claims Simon Property Group was negligent. That suit alleges Simon and its security company should have known the risk of active shooters and had better security. But Simon filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. They say shootings are not foreseeable. The family says 22-year-old Kayla Stewart was shot several times. They say the shooter also targeted her younger sister.
I think if an assault rifle comes into a mall, that's an immediate basis to say, okay, we've got something to, at the very least, to call the police.
Indiana is an open carry state when it comes to firearms. So tweak the facts just a little bit. If somebody comes onto the property with firearms in full view, at that point, they have not broken the law.
The court has not made a decision on this yet. A spokesperson says we can expect something in the next couple of months. A family is getting answers this afternoon, more than a year after a 19-year-old was shot and killed on the southeast side of Indy. Another teenager now charged for the crime. Our Logan Gay spoke with the victim's parents, who say that long wait for answers is finally bringing them some peace.
When he was born,
Julius Parker Jr. might not be physically here, but his presence can be felt everywhere in his home. And since the day he was found inside a parked car on Spring Wind Lane nearly 15 months ago, his parents, worrying the case could go cold, have been praying for one thing: answers.
when I hear other people, oh, there's a suspect, there's an arrest, I say, God, when is it going to be my time? Let it be today.
That day finally came with a phone call from a detective who said the words they've been waiting to hear. Court records show a warrant for 19-year-old Samuel Francher Jr. was issued. He's being charged with murder and robbery for Julius's death. His parents calling the moment bittersweet.
We were shocked because this is something that we have been praying for and hoping for since this incident last year. We were happy that at least there is a name attached to the murder of our son, but also knowing that he's not going to come back.
According to court documents, the shooter got in the back seat of the car to buy some marijuana from Julius. When it was time to pay, the suspect claimed there was an issue with the Cash App transfer and then tried to grab the bag of marijuana, leading to a struggle and Julius ultimately being shot. His mother, Sony, says this information was hard for her to read because she had no idea.
That is shocking to me, and it just broke me because we never raised him like that. His dad is a hard worker. We worked so hard, and Julius was well loved. He had everything.
Julius Jr. was a talented athlete, a member of their local church, a Franklin Central High School graduate, and a freshman at Ball State University. His goal was to be a psychiatrist, and his parents say that's what they're going to focus on.
It doesn't matter what happened. I'm going to fight for him. That's my son, the way that I raised him.
Nobody has the right to take away another person's life, over something that could be resolved.
Getting to this moment has been an uphill battle for the Parker family, and even though they finally have some answers, they know the fight is not over.
I don't wish death on him, but I want him to pay for what he did.
Because what they lost can never be replaced.
If he had been given the opportunity to live his full potential, he would have made a great impact in life.
That was Logan Gay reporting. The family says they're going to plan to be at every hearing until that final verdict is given. Turning now to a troubling trend raising concerns across Indiana. We're already seeing the impact of a shortage of prosecutors. According to the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, the state is facing a 40% shortage of deputy prosecutors. And they say the problem just keeps getting worse. A Howard County judge just dismissed a murder charge against a man because the county doesn't have enough prosecutors to meet the county's caseload. The IPAC, Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, estimates it needs about 1,100 deputy prosecutors across the state. Right now, they have just 660. Well, as the state deals with a shortage of prosecutors, there is a renewed push to bring new recruits to Indy's police force. It comes as IMPD faces their own staffing shortage. Right now, the department has over 1,400 officers. However, the department is budgeted to have around 1,700. That's a shortage of more than 300 officers. The Northwest District hosted an event just last night for Hoosiers interested in a career in law enforcement. Last year, a new contract gave IMPD officers a 24% raise and boosted the starting salary for an officer to about $72,000. We've got a full list of the qualifications and more details for you on WTHR.com. A new program is working to improve interactions between police and those with disabilities. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office is calling it the Blue Envelope Program. It's meant to help police and people who may experience heightened anxiety or communication challenges when interacting with police. That program allows them to carry a blue envelope with important documents like their ID, vehicle registration, and emergency contact info. The program's director tells us they can then get it out during a traffic stop to make officers aware they might be overwhelmed by the bright lights and flashing sirens, or the bright lights and sirens, especially if they don't know why they're being pulled over. Take a listen here.
And unfortunately, this can be so overwhelming that you lose your ability to articulate things verbally and may even really externalizing that distress. And to the untrained eye, this can sometimes seem like people are acting out on purpose or that they're intoxicated when they're not.
So the participation in the program is voluntary. The Blue Envelope program launched in Connecticut about 5 years ago, and it has since expanded to several states across the country.